Hey everyone, it's Matt Donahue with your weekly market update for the week ending June 7th, coming to you on Tuesday, June 11th. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We have some market moving news. Indices rebounded from a modest setback from a few weeks ago as the NASDAQ and the S&P set record highs last month. Renewed intelligence really is being driven by artificial intelligence, which overall lifted technology stocks. NASDAQ's 2.4% weekly gain outpaced both of the modest gains for the S&P and the Dow. The labor market was a surprise last week. May's jobs growth figure of about 272,000 jobs came in way above the economist forecast for 180,000. Wage growth also exceeded expectations, which further complicates any potential rate cut for later this year. Government bond yields rose following the Friday morning's report, and stocks were a little unchanged. Growth style leadership, during 2022 especially, we heard a lot of people saying, shouldn't I be switching to value stocks? Well, growth stocks are outperforming again, so extending their year-to-date leadership. Growth indices returned about 2.7% last week, while value benchmarks were actually down about 0.8%. The yield on the 10-year Treasury bond fell on Thursday to its lowest level in more than 2 years, but the yield drop quickly reversed course on Friday because of that jobs report. After closing on Thursday at 4.28%, the 10-year note climbed back up to 4.43% on Friday. Inflation's not bad everywhere. It's apparently not that bad in Europe because the European Central Bank approved its first such reduction since 2019. Policymakers cited recent progress in reducing inflationary pressures as they approved a quarter-point rate cut affecting the 20 countries that use the euro currency. Oil is slip sliding all over the place. Price of U.S. crude fell below 73 a barrel on Tuesday to its lowest level in 4 months after a consortium of oil producing countries announced plans for a more gradual phase out of production cuts. The price recovered to somewhat more than $75 a barrel on Friday, but it was still way below the recent high of $88 in early April. Well, we talked about value not performing as well as growth. Small cap is not performing as well as large cap. There's been a recent run of underperformance for smaller stocks. Since a recent high on May 15th, small cap benchmarks were down 3.7% as of Friday's close. However, the large cap counterpart, was up 0.3%. Lots of reporting this week. So the Fed Reserve is meeting, and yesterday and today they're going to have a report tomorrow. There's a inflation report coming out tomorrow morning as well. Nobody's expecting a rate cut at this point, and consumer price index report will show how May's annual inflation rate compared with April's 3.4% figure. Speaking of reports, so nothing came out yesterday, which was Monday. Tuesday, National Small Business Optimism Index from the National Federation of Independent Business. Tomorrow is the big one, right? The U.S. Federal Reserve Board has their 2-day meeting, like I just mentioned. Consumer Price Index comes out tomorrow. Federal budget comes out tomorrow. Thursday is the Producer Price Index and weekly unemployment. And then Friday is the University of Michigan Index of Consumer Sentiment and the export and import prices. Philosophy quote of the week: you can do it. If you find something very difficult to achieve yourself, don't imagine it impossible. For anything possible and proper for another person can be achieved as easily by you. That comes from Marcus Aurelius. Couple ways to look at that. One is everything's not a zero-sum game, right? You don't get everything. Let me rephrase that. You don't get everything you want all the time, right? Sometimes you have to get the best you can. Another way to look at it is if you do see someone else doing it, guess what? You can probably do it. Think about the guy who ran the 4-minute mile back in the late 60s, early 70s. And you can look this up. This is an oft repeated thing, but he up till then, nobody said you could run a 4-minute mile. He did it, and within like a year of him doing it, 50 other people went out and did it. So could it be hard? Sure. Could it be challenging? You bet. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Some tax tips. Hey, it's wedding season. So if May was all about, graduates and college and all that, let's talk about weddings and some things that, it may be just marital changes in general that you need to think about. If you're changing your name, do it with the Social Security Administration, right? If you move, change your address with the IRS, your bank, your employer, others. Your marital status as of the last day of the year determines your tax filing status. Don't forget that. Do a health insurance review. This helps if you receive premium assistance through advance payments of the premium tax credit through through a health insurance provider or the marketplace. Don't forget to ensure the marketplace knows you're married. Other changes that should be reported to health providers include birth or adoption of a child, divorce, and employment changes, moving, anything that affects your family composition, size, income, or your enrollment. Life events such as getting married allow for special enrollment periods, especially at work for benefits you might get from work. So be sure to take advantage of that. Do not forget to update your will and trust. You should review that every year. If you want someone to review your will or trust, give us a call. We can help you with that. Ensure beneficiaries of life insurance policies, IRAs, and 401ks are updated. That's something we do a lot of with our clients. So make sure if you want to just get an IRA reviewed, a 401k reviewed, life insurance policy reviewed, give us a call. We can totally help you with that. Credit scores, don't forget, credit scores are always single, which means that you get married, your credit score is yours, your spouse's is theirs. Pre-tax, pre-marriage tax issues remain pre-marriage. So if your spouse is going through an audit from when they were single, you get married, guess what? That's their deal. That's not your deal. And of course, same-sex couples, you're going to file married filing jointly unless you're doing a head of household report. Head of health tip of the week. We're going to stick with the brain and Alzheimer's awareness for this month. So symptoms and causes of Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's. This is kind of scary stuff, right? Alzheimer's causes the brain to shrink and brain cells to eventually die. It is the most common cause of dementia, which is the gradual decline in memory, thinking, behavior, and social skills. There's a lot of people who have Alzheimer's. There's almost 6.5 million people. More than 70% of them are 75 years of age or older. 55 million people have Alzheimer's with dementia. 55 million people around the world have dementia. 60 to 70% of them probably have Alzheimer's. So how do you know you're not just being forgetful or absent-minded versus Alzheimer's? One of the biggest signs is completely forgetting about stuff. So forgetting recent events or conversations. The other thing is, it's not necessarily like, where are my keys? It's, what are my keys for? Right? You don't know, you have no idea what they open. You have no idea what they are, right? It's like you're seeing them for the first time. Unfortunately, there's no treatment for Alzheimer's. And when you get into advanced stages of it, the severe loss of brain function can cause a lot of different problems: forgetting to drink water, not eating, getting infections, right? Things like that. So it can get serious really quickly. So biggest thing is, at first they might be having, someone might be having trouble remembering where things are and thinking clearly. As symptoms get worse, other people are going to start to notice. Okay, so some of the big issues: you're going to have memory issues. You're going to misplace items. You're going to forget the names of family members and everyday objects. You won't be able to find the right words or express thoughts or take part in a conversation. Abstract reasoning will go out the window. Things like basic math. And then multitasking becomes very, very hard. So from a planning standpoint, some of the things that you want to just think about are really going to be: get regular checkups. On top of that, make sure that if you see something, you say something. I know that sounds really corny, especially to those of us who lived in the post 911 world, but just make sure that once you see behavior changes that are potentially alarming, talk about it. That's the best thing you can do, is talk about it. So, and then go to your doctor. So, thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Give us a call if you want to have a conversation about some of those tax tips or how the market is going to affect you. You can always call Mission Financial Planners at 888-339-0093. You can call or text me at 726-727-6581. Once again, 726-727-6581. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great week.